Behold, RPGs and Baby Makes 3.
RPGs and Baby Makes 3 Reimagined.
Are you done looking stuff up yet?
Well, I just wanted to have the definitions readily available.
The definitions. We'll call that a tease for this episode of RPGs and Baby Makes 3. A tease for our topic. Gretch, I'm going to tell you that, okay, this is really probably a bad idea because you never want to set people's expectations high. Nobody's going to have any high expectations for us. But if you would, I would have high expectations today because I think this is going to be a really good episode.
Okay.
So, I just threw down the gauntlet on
I
us
love
here.
your enthusiasm.
Should we roll for initiative?
I don't know, should we?
Let's roll for initiative.
So we've been doing a lot of gaming. Kind of. Sort of.
We've been doing relatively more gaming than we had been.
We did have a little string there of
But not peak gaming
all time
involvement.
ever.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Old Gods of Appalachia first.
Yeah.
Because this is a new game. Well, it's a newer game. We've just recently played it. And our good buddy Amanda Plagman ran a game of Old Gods of Appalachia at Roll the Bones, a local game shop here in Savannah. What? Why are you chuckling? There's something here.
Just how I entered that day of playing at Roll the Bones, which
Oh,
was
God,
a charity
yes,
event.
Yes, tell the story of what happened.
Oh, God. So, it was a charity event to raise funds for an animal rescue. Maybe it was like Renegade Paws, maybe, or One Love. And we had just gotten lunch from your favorite place to eat.
Chicken Salad Chick.
Yeah.
Because apparently I'm like a 45-year-old woman.
Yeah. And, their sodas, I don't know why I had such a large soda, but
I ordered us large sodas because we were going to this RPG event. I thought we would be there for like 3 hours and okay, we've got a big soda, we can sip on it the whole
Rob,
time.
do you see this can of bubbly black cherry sparkling water?
No, because I'm only listening.
Because do you think I'm actually going to finish this can? How many cans have you found around our house that are like half?
If we sat at
filled?
this table for 3 hours, you don't think you'd finish a 12-ounce can of drink?
Okay, well, I finished 2 of them the other day when we were playing. But I was also having a coughing fit like every 2 seconds.
And you could have had a coughing fit at Old Gods of Appalachia.
Well, instead I had a disaster.
Yeah.
So, and part of it you could roll a die, and depending on what you roll...
Okay, let's set the scene. So you walk up, and they're doing this, they got
a table to
Yeah.
greet you.
Roll the Bones is awesome. In the front half of it is the store part. And then they have this huge area, actually really multiple areas for gaming. And in between the store and the gaming area, they had set up a table on which were like a number of small prizes.
Yeah.
And where someone was taking
Donations.
It was donation only, so you didn't have to, but you give a donation, and then if you did a donation, then you got to roll a die, and if you rolled a critical hit, you got to choose from a different prize category. So anyway, I go up there, roll, don't win, get to choose small prizes.
No,
I think
the
I
small
chose.
prize is like a sticker.
Yeah, I think I took some stickers. It was some stickers or maybe some
A
temporary
sticker
tattoos.
or something, yeah.
Yeah. It might have been a couple stickers. I don't think it was just one, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, it was one.
One
Not
sticker. I got a sticker. So then I do that, and then I just walk away because, I just rolled a die, and there's a bunch of cheap prizes on here. I'm just going to grab one real quick and move on to play my game. But that was not your decision. What happened, Gretch?
Well, I mean, there were just so many different ones. I had to decide, is this one I want for myself, or should I get one for Lincoln? And wait, we already have these stickers, so maybe I should... And I just kept flip-flopping. And somehow, this gigantic soda is crushed in my tiny little lady hand, and it explodes. all over the table.
All over all
All
of
over
the
the
prizes.
stickers, all over the little
everything.
mini cat toys, everything. So that was awesome.
So Gretchen established herself as the biggest dork at the dork event.
Well, we're gonna have to talk about that.
We're gonna talk about that.
But I will say, you know, I don't know that he is ever going to listen. But thank you, Brandon, for helping me clean it all up.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon.
And Rob, thank you for warming your own chair.
I have dealt with that S show for 24 years.
Yeah, you signed the contract, buddy.
Brandon can step in one time. Thanks, Brandon.
man.
I don't know who you are, but thank you. But anyway, then we went in and we, you know, after all that rigmarole, we ended up going in and we got to play Old Gods of Appalachia, run by Amanda.
Oh, and by the way, not only did I help clean all of that up, but I did not take a sticker and made another donation for
Oh my God.
making a mess.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, Old Gods of Appalachia. So it's based on a podcast. I don't know the podcast.
I don't know it
But
either.
apparently it's like a supernatural horror sort of podcast.
Oh, I should
story
listen to it.
podcast. Yeah, you might enjoy it. I've heard good things about it, actually.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I would enjoy it.
So here's the description. Old Gods of Appalachia is an eldritch horror fiction podcast set in an alternate Appalachia, a world where these mountains were never meant to be inhabited.
I mean,
so-
that's kind of how they are, though. Really.
Yeah, and it's...
Sasquatch.
Yeah, so there's like monsters and stuff, and we did an adventure. I played a character that was essentially like Indiana Jones ripoff, in a
Yeah,
way.
we had pre-gens.
Yeah, because that's what you do when you have one-offs, for the most part. You have pre-gens.
Yeah. And I am not the greatest at coming up with character names. And so I had an item that was a molasses taffy. So my character's name was Molasses Taffy.
Yeah, that'll happen sometimes when you're playing one-offs. I thought what was interesting about the game was how you had this like target difficulty number, and that number would be pulled down based on the players making decisions about how they could give an advantage to whoever was acting. So like you had the main player, and then that main player would, you know, whoever's doing the action, they would like declare an action, and then they would end up having some advantage, some ability, some sort of thing that they could use to help them be better at doing that action. And then
What is
other
the
players
other game that uses that?
where people can help.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of games use that.
No, but one we've used, one we've played recently.
Where everybody that is playing can add their advantages. Well, you can do that in Ironsworn.
Okay, maybe that's what it was.
You can do it in Ironsworn, where you like help each other.
Okay, all right, that's what I'm thinking.
And yeah, so you give them that kind of thing. But I liked that because every action that happened at the table, no matter who was doing it, had an opportunity for every player to impact that action. And I thought that was kind of cool because you never felt like, or at least for me, I never felt like my character wasn't a part of a scene, even if my character wasn't the feature of a scene. Because then I could, like, even if it was just, I distract somebody, you know, like, you can do that and you're helping and you're
Yeah.
playing together, you know?
Yeah.
And you're trying to solve a supernatural mystery.
And I like things that are based in Appalachia.
Yeah, and Amanda's really, you and Amanda both. You had the southern accent. You went to your classic.
My old Appalachian roots, you mean?
Yeah, you went back to your Appalachian roots.
Back to good old Shiflets Hollow.
I don't know if Amanda has those roots, but she always gets that snarky, strong, like Appalachian kind of character is like one of her sort of tropes, I guess you might say, in the games that she runs.
Yeah.
You know? So, but it was fun. It was really fun to go and try it out and like try out a new game and everything like that, a new indie game.
I hope Molasses didn't piss off Meemaw
That's right. I mean, we had a
and
little
Gammy.
We had a good little interaction there. I think what helped was it was Gretchen and myself, and then Pete Russo, who Pete is somebody who plays in my Temple of Elemental Evil game, and we've played a lot together. And then Howard, who we've had on this podcast before to talk about note-taking and a library D&D program
Activity.
that he was running for a little while. And so the four of us who were acting as players, plus the GM, we all knew each other. It was open to everybody, though.
Yeah.
And then Amanda ended up running a Cthulhu game
Then
later.
there was that dude who just kept standing over us, staring down at us. That made me uncomfortable.
He's just curious. Nerds, dude. Nerds don't know. Or dorks.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Is like
Or geeks.
I kind of feel like if someone wants to listen in on something, like just pull up a chair. Like,
No, but they don't know how to do that. Nerds don't know.
nobody likes anybody standing over their shoulder.
Social cues, dude. We're going to talk about that here in a minute.
Yeah.
We've got a main topic. But anyway, we also played Old School Essentials. We've been playing some Pirates game.
Yeah, that's been fun.
So I've been running Old School Essentials.
So much easier
It's
than
basically
2E.
It's basic. It's basic and expert D&D. So it's like the simplest version of D&D. And
So much easier.
we're playing a pirate themed game. And so we've played twice, I think, since the last time that we did a podcast, and we used a little bit of battle maps and minis, which was an interesting experience for me. But it's a total beer and pretzels game, and we brought in Justin Goldberg, our friend.
Yeah, our son's someone who his kids go to the same play school our kid does.
And you're probably like, well, who cares about this guy? It was the very first time he'd ever played a role-playing game, D&D, and he did an excellent job.
He did. He did a great job.
He played like a pirate cook who was also kind of a tough. So he was able to kind of like be tough, but then also be a cook. And he did a good job.
Which
know?
fits really well with my character, because my character is food obsessed.
Yeah, well, you're a bird.
Yeah, I'm a seagull.
Yeah, a seagull.
That is a very particular brand of food obsessed.
As I've mentioned many times, a seagull ate a sandwich out of my sister's hand when we were at the beach one time.
Yeah,
Swooped down and grabbed it literally out of her hand and ate it.
that's amazing. I'd like to see someone draw
My sandwich! That's what she said. So
How old was
crazy.
she at the time?
8, 9 years old, maybe.
Oh God, that's so cute.
Yeah. There was so many. We were at the beach in New Jersey, and there were so many seagulls. It was crazy how many seagulls there were. Like it was the birds. I mean, it felt like it was so many birds out on the beach. But yeah, we've been playing that. I think it's been fun. It's kind of like this I don't know, like it's a game that has a little bit of, I think, long-term campaign staying power, and yet it's also not very serious. Isn't that kind of interesting? Because like it does feel like it's a real campaign that will go for a while, but it doesn't feel like nobody's being like overly intense about it. Like everybody's playing for real, and we're trying, and we're having fun with the character interactions, but I don't know. But
Anyway.
let's get to our main topic, though. We've
Yeah.
done some gaming, we've done some life. Let's get to our main topic,
Jibber jabber.
which I think
I also want to say, because we got it sitting in front of us, we've been playing a little bit of Patchwork.
Yeah, board games. So Patchwork is by Uwe Rosenberg. He's sort of a famous German game designer, and it is a lot of fun. 2 players only, fairly short. It's got strategy, though, and some intricacy to it in terms of, like, making it, but not so much that you can't have a conversation. Like, you and I can play and just be a couple also,
Yeah.
which I really like.
And
So
I've beaten you the 2 times we played it, so that's a
Oh,
bonus.
God, you're keeping track, huh? Now I really gotta win. Yeah, let's play some of my game. Let's break out some Hero Quest. See what happens.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get into our main topic. It's a good one.
It might be tempting to pronounce that word huzzah, hip hip huzzah, but in fact, we think that most people in the 1700s said huzzay.
All right, Gretch, you introduce our main topic this time because it is your brainchild.
My brain is a very sad, empty place these days. So,
But your brain had a child, and this is it.
and I'm just perpetuating the brainless child thing of whatever. I don't know. Okay, so are we gaming nerds, gaming geeks, gaming dorks?
Nerds, geeks, or dorks?
Yeah. So the definitions for two of those are surprisingly close.
Well, give us those definitions, Gretchen. Let's start here. We on RPGs and Baby Makes 3. By the way, you should like and subscribe. On RPGs and Baby Makes 3, we do everything by the most scientific method possible.
Yes, absolutely. So, nerd.
Nerd, the definition is, and this is from,
I don't know, Google.
probably, it's Google or something, right?
Oxford Language Dictionary.
Oh,
There you
that sounds like a big deal.
go. Okay.
Let's do it.
So, nerd, a person who is extremely enthusiastic and knowledgeable about a particular subject, especially one of specialist or niche interest. The executive is an unabashed film nerd. That's how you would use that. Okay, then the other one that's incredibly close is geek.
Okay.
A person who is knowledgeable about and obsessively interested in a particular subject, especially one that is technical or of specialist or niche interest, a computer geek.
Okay.
And the
then
last
dork.
one is dork. A contemptible, socially inept person. They're all dressed like complete dorks.
Wow. The last one sounds... You don't want to be a dork. We call each other dork a lot, though.
Yeah, but the thing is I think there's a lot of gamers out there that are in some ways socially inept.
Guys standing over us, watching us while we're trying to play over your shoulders.
Do we need to come up with a new word?
A schmork.
A gaming nerk?
So what would you classify yourself out of nerd, dork, and geek? Because I've got a classification for
Well,
myself.
see, the important thing is here is they've underlined enthusiastic or obsessive. So I think I would be more enthusiastic, not obsessive about it.
Mm-hmm.
I've got way too much stuff on my Thanksgiving plate to be obsessive about anything except our child and my business.
So you're more of a nerd. I kind of feel like I might be a geek when it comes to like second edition and stuff because I know all the math and all that kind of stuff like the back of my hands, you know? And it's a little, I guess maybe I'm more obsessive, I think, with some of this stuff. I'm less so, though. I would say I'm more nerdy about role-playing as a hobby in general. Because I have a difficult time remembering, like, you know, I'll see people have these dialogues online, and there's some of it that's just like, let's show everybody how smart I am in the comments. But there's this class of gamers that just are talking about gaming in a technical way that I simply just don't. I don't understand it, but I also don't even care to understand it, you know, or even talk like that. I talk like a normal person. Or I like to as much as I can, you know? Like, no matter what topic I'm talking about.
I speak normal.
Well, I want it to be understandable and relatable rather than, like, technical jargon that nobody can understand.
And that's part of what makes you a good journalist.
Well, I'm not a good journalist, Gretchen. I'm a great journalist.
You're the 23rd best art critic.
According to Jerry Saltz. Yes, kind of a big deal. But yeah, I mean, I think I fall into the nerd. But you're right, though. That's interesting. You could, now that we have those definitions, I mean, I sort of feel like the definitions for those things have changed because I feel like it used to be, well, I mean, I guess they say it in the definition for geek where you're, or nerd. Yeah, geek, where they talked about computer geek, like specifically like something very technical or specialized or something along those lines. And I feel like old school gaming was really oriented towards that with like math and numbers a lot of the time. And then the more new school stuff has gotten rid of a lot of that stuff and probably
Leans
moved it
more creative, perhaps?
Yeah, so it's more nerdy than it is geeky, I think, the newer stuff. Like you said, like you're not obsessive. You know what I mean? Passionate or whatever. It's a passionate versus obsessive. Enthusiastic versus obsessive, right. So I think that's kind of like almost there can almost be a bit of a dividing line between like that old school feel versus the new school feel. Although the truly old school games like we've been playing, Old School Essentials, which is based on like the basic edition, that's as simple as it gets. That's a much simpler version of D&D.
So simple. Oh my god, it's so much better for me.
Yeah.
I'm just not a mather.
You're not a big math person.
No.
Not a mather. All right, well, do you have anything else you want to say about this topic that you were so enthusiastically excited about? You were nerding out on this topic before we started this podcast.
Well, I think that there is like a hybrid about it, because if dork is part of the socially inept, and we could even throw in contemptible, because there is a class of gatekeepers within the gaming community.
We talked about that a bit, yeah.
Who are contemptible. Like, they're dicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I guess that you can be many of these things. Being a gamer can have layers, like a chocolate parfait.
Which is not a cake.
Had cake in it, Rob.
It's still not cake.
It wasn't very good.
It was
It was
middling.
disappointment cake.
It was a little bit disappointing. Let's get to the final segment here. Let's close this off.
I possess the Necronomicon. I've crushed your pathetic army. Now I'll have my vengeance.
Buckle up, bonehead, because you're going for a ride.
What books have you been reading, Gretch?
So I started a really interesting one. I've been enjoying it. Called The Silent Patient, and it's about a woman who was in a great relationship. She was a painter. Her husband was a famous photographer, and one day she shoots him in the face multiple times and then goes into she just stops speaking, and they have her in the hospital under super medication because she kept trying to commit suicide. And so now it is from the therapist's point of view of trying to unravel what happened.
Wow, that sounds fascinating.
Yeah, I really like it so far.
Wow, I don't know if I can handle that, but it sounds really fascinating.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I just finished up. Who's the author of that book? Actually, let's put that out there since you're kind of in the mood.
Let's see here.
Alex.
Is it Alex? God, come back.
The first name is definitely Al. The first name. Gretchen's trying to put it up on the on her phone, and it just keeps on blinking away from you can't see the bottom.
Alex Michelides?
Michaelides.
But it could also be Alex.
Alex Michaelides.
Because we know an Alex.
All right, so it's Michaelides is the last name.
Yeah, and look at that. 280,950 reviews, 4.4 stars.
On what?
I don't know, Amazon?
On something? Is that
Yeah.
Goodreads? Maybe?
I don't know.
Who knows? Kindle?
Well, Amazon reviews.
Yeah.
God,
That's-
but yeah, it's like, I don't know. Apparently, because I look through some of the reviews, but I stop when it says spoilers. Apparently, there is some huge twist. And that people are like, oh my God.
Oh, maybe I should read this book. I kind of want to read it. You kind of got me in the
I'm
mood.
super excited. Like, what is the twist?
I'm actually reading a couple. Yeah, so I finished up the Joe Abercrombie, The Trouble with
Grimdark.
Peace. Yeah, Grimdark.
All
The
about
Trouble
Grimdark,
with
man.
Peace, which is the second book in the Age of Madness trilogy, which is part of his big super series. And it had some really excellent moments. It finished really well, but it was overall a bit of a disappointment to me.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Most of the book was spent. There's a bunch of the book spent leading to an inevitable confrontation,
Okay.
which is predictable from really early on in the book, and then there's like all of this kind of time spent like building towards it.
Huh.
And I almost expected with Joe Abercrombie that maybe that there would be some outcome that would be unexpected, but maybe that was the twist. It really came out kind of mostly as expected.
Okay.
And then there was the big battle, and it was like so many pages
Oh,
of
we were
this
talking
battle
about
description.
epic battles.
And he's an excellent battle writer. I mean, it's so great, but at the same time, it's all a little bit of like been there, done that with him. So it feels like you're kind of just reading it's really well written, but it's like 10 books into the series, like, kind of gone through this many times before, and some of the themes are, you know, really incredibly similar. So it's a little bit disappointing. It was a little bit disappointing in that. And then it ended really well. So we'll see what happens, but...
You know, it's... So I just recently read, both by the same author, there's some discussion on which series has a better battle in it. So first is Throne of Glass series, and then the other is A Court of Thorns and Roses. And so Court of Thorns and Roses, big battle, whatever, it was very kind of abrupt in a lot of ways. It didn't last. But in Throne of Glass, the battle lasted forever, and people were dying, and there's desperation and, you know, strategies, and, you know, and you could feel like just, it was exhausting reading this battle, and then seeing it, you know, of course, in the end, like, you would hope your character comes out on top, and it is just hair-raising, like, who are we losing, what's gonna happen? And so yeah, and that's a series, I think, by Sarah J. Maas, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I think Throne of Glass has the Air of Ash and Fire, the last book of the series. I mean, the battle in it is just gruesome and long, and oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Abercrombie is incredible with his battles. In fact, in one of his stories, in one of his books, he has this, I think it was David Fincher, his first movie was this movie called Slacker. Have you ever heard of this movie before?
Yeah.
And so the premise of this movie is, like, there's a character who runs into another character on street, and they have a conversation. And then you follow that other character. And then another character runs into another character. And then you follow the character they ran into. And you go from person to person to person through the whole movie, following one character. And then it ends up all the way at the end back to the original person. And Joe Abercrombie wrote this one battle scene in one of his other books where he did that sort of technique, where it was like going from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And it was really fascinating. It was really well done. He's done incredible battle scenes. This whole thing was not badly done. It was well done. It's just that it was like, each of his books like 600 pages long, and we're on book 10 at 6,000 pages. How many pages have been devoted to battle scenes? You know, like a lot, a lot of them. But I'm also reading, I started reading this, so it's a young adult. So I don't know if this is good or not. I'm not actually sure if this book is good, but it's by Cassandra Rose Clark. It's The Assassin's Curse. It's a 2-book, like, it's a duology, so it's like 2 books, just one, 2 books. And it's young adult. It essentially focuses on one character who is like the daughter of some major pirate lord who wants to escape an arranged marriage. And that's kind of where it kicks off from. And there is some weird other things that happen. Like, there's this assassin that's going after her, and the assassin has like this shadowy blood magic kind of thing, and there's all this stuff. I'm probably halfway through the first of the 2 books. It's very young though, so it's like, she's a pirate. It's sort of got piratey feel in terms of, it's written in a first person perspective, so it's from her, the character's perspective, and her name is Inanna. But the way she interacts and the way the characters act feels so young to me in a lot of ways. Like, the way they talk, the simplicity of certain things, like, it has that 12-year-old logic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in a way, it's not bad. And there's certain parts of it that I really have liked, that have, like, I don't know, just stuck out to me. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm really enjoying this. And I'm like, I am reading a lot. Like, I'm reading it pretty quickly. I'm already halfway through the first book. And so it's been interesting, but it's like, again, I wanted to read something sort of piratey, and I looked up books about pirates, and it was like, this was one that wasn't like a huge history. It was its own mythology and all that stuff. So, but been pretty interesting. I mean, I'm kind of slowed down on reading this year in terms of reading books, although I'm going to end up hitting 40 books by the end of the year. But it's just a different... I've been reading like RPG supplements and stuff like that a little bit more. So we're getting to the end of the year here. Do you think we'll do another podcast before the year is done?
Well, I mean, we do have those 2 weeks where Lincoln is going to be in a camp, and we're going to be taking off of work, hopefully.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Do you feel bad about that at all?
No, because if there are days that we want to have them, we've already talked about not
just take
taking them.
Yeah.
I mean, we lose the money for the day, but I mean, the thing is like, there's a lot we need to get done, and a lot we just want to do.
I'm not going to spend that whole time doing tasks, though. There is stuff that needs to get done, but Lord Almighty, I need some time off. Should we get out of here? Should we be done?
I guess we should be done.
All right. Well, I don't know if that lived up to the hype that I established early on.
No, I didn't.
You should still like and subscribe if you listen to this podcast. We appreciate it if you do.
Good job, Rob.
Thanks. Thanks, Gretchen, for another wonderful podcast.
You're welcome.
Let's get out of here.
Take care, y'all.